I'd like to pick up a point that's been made in the comments by Pedrago Hooligan. And says, Tim, you have to avoid whataboutery, and specifically VAT on public schools, and deflection, distraction, as well as simply asserting that the Treasury estimates can't be trusted, should be ignored in favour of the farmers. Right. The reason I mention the VAT on public schools is because the Treasury had said quite clearly that VAT on public schools would not endanger smaller private faith schools. A smaller private faith school, a Jewish school, Emmanuel College, closed last week. And the children there are now being sent to another school about 30 minutes drive away. This is in complete contradiction to what the Treasury has said. So in the same way, the Treasury has asserted, and Starmer regularly points out, that the number of farmers, the number of family farms that will be affected by the inheritance tax is very small. That is not what the farmers believe. And again, given the fact that the Treasury were wrong about the VAT, I imagine they're also wrong about the farmers. The various organisations that support and help private schools were very quick to say that this VAT, together with the rise in the rise in employers' contributions in national insurance, and there's one other change, I forget what that is now. This trinity of change will have an appalling effect on smaller independent schools that have struggled to survive, and that in many cases simply exist to support the local community because state schools don't do the job that parents want and that parents should expect. State schools aren't set up to do that job, which is to provide a grounding in the particular faith for their children. There are other jobs that state schools are not particularly good at doing, which is helping children who have been diagnosed on the SEND spectrum, or who have not been diagnosed on the SEND spectrum. Parents know this long before the diagnosis can be established. It takes a long time to make that diagnosis. If parents have got the resources or can make the savings to ensure their children can have some form of focused education before that diagnosis is fully established, then it makes sense for them to take advantage of that. And let me just go on. I expect you personally have no data or facts of your own to support one side or the other. Well, that's exactly not the case, as is the case for the vast majority of the public. Fine. Since neither you nor the rest of us can make our own minds up without independent analysis and reporting, it appears to be that no one should jump to conclusions without indisputable evidence. On the contrary, while the evidence is being acquired, we should be maintaining and pursuing this debate. And there isn't one fountain of evidence. There's evidence from many different sources. There isn't one irrefutable pile of evidence. Evidence is produced by one group and by another group, and people selectively pick from those groups of evidence. So the idea that we have, you say that would be the approach of those with critical thinking skills, and not just by those with an emotional bent who ignore a scientific approach. The scientific approach is not God. The scientific approach is about drawing a conclusion from the facts that you have available, until those facts are superseded by new facts, in which case you draw a new conclusion. We go back to John Maynard Keynes' statement that I change my mind when the facts change. And that is the scientific statement. The scientific statement is we deal with the facts we've got available, we draw a conclusion, and when new facts appear, we draw another conclusion. We don't wait and wait and wait until all the facts are amassed in front of us and then say, now we can make a decision. That is not scientific. That is languid and lazy. I'm waiting for all the facts to accumulate. Let's wait and let other people take advantage of us first, and then we'll draw conclusions when it's too late to change anything. The scientific method is to draw conclusions from the facts which are available, wherever they are, whoever owns those facts and has provided those facts. And that, I hope, is what I try to do. So the fact that somebody else has other facts, great, let's accommodate them. But this charge of whataboutery and assertions, this is bluster, and it's very interesting to look at this and to say, I think I was very clear in the video that I made, where I referenced the farmers, and I drew a parallel between the farmers descending on London for a second time and the VAT on public schools, on private schools, and I was specific because the Treasury was wrong about one group, the private schools, and it looks as if it's wrong about the farmers. And simply because somebody stands up in Parliament at the dispatch box and makes an official statement doesn't make it true. Keir Starmer has not been gifted with infallibility, and even the Pope is only infallible, according to the Catholic doctrine of the 19th century, on a very small range of issues. This idea that there is an absolute decision that can be made from absolute facts is not scientific. It's poppycock and comes very close to propaganda. So we have to have a much more organic relationship with the facts as they come through. And that's what I certainly try to do. And I try to do so with as much humour and as much levity as the seriousness of these facts can allow.